Hey listeners, last year was our 15th year of the best in food storytelling. As we head into 2025, we're kicking off a contest in collaboration with the podcast series Feast and Harmony and Sixth Man, where you have the opportunity to win a 4-night cruise for 2 on Chefs Making Waves, a food, wine, and spirits festival at sea. When you donate to HRN, you'll be entered for the chance to win a porthole cabin for 2 on Chefs Making Waves, sailing May 5th through 9th, 2025, from Miami to Cozumel, Mexico on Norwegian Gem. You'll also support another year of great food storytelling with a portion of your donation going toward disaster relief for the food and beverage communities within Western North Carolina and Southern California. This cruise is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for culinary adventurers, featuring top celebrity chefs including Jonathan Waxman, Antonio Lafaso, Robert Irvine, and many, many more. There's a myriad of experiences such as restaurant takeovers, live food and mixology demos, themed parties, and more. To enter your chance to win, please visit heritageradionetwork.org/cruise. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 or over to enter. That's heritageradionetwork.org/cruise.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Since 2009, HRN podcasts have been exploring the wide world of food, beverage, and agriculture. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org.
This episode is brought to you by Wisconsin Cheese. We've been making cheese in Wisconsin since before we were even a state, which may be one reason why we win so many awards for it. It's what happens when a whole state dreams in cheese. Find your next favorite cheese at wisconsincheese.com.
We talk about food, we talk about music, with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, snacky tunes.
Hello and welcome to Snacky Tunes. I'm your host, Darren Bresnitz. We are back in Bed-Stuy for this episode, chatting with Gilbert Elsmeter about his new restaurant, Laziza. We chat about him being born into the business, his journey across the globe to wind up in Williamsburg, and how his record collection found a permanent home in his new restaurant. And then we dive into the archives to keep this show all Brooklyn with the performance from Bad Credit, No Credit. If people are looking to donate still to the LA Fire Relief Fund for restaurants, we have links in the newsletter and on the website. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy Snacky Tunes here on HRN.
To have the beast inside her breast, she devoted her life to being the best. She helped all of those in need. She gave away everything, but she couldn't give away the beast. She found love, she found help. She broke down walls, she was a champion, a beacon of society. But in her breast there was a beast, and she couldn't give away the beast. Sometimes she would drink, and the beast would say nasty things, quivering wild and ready to leave. The beast was waiting to break free. Morning after, inevitably, all her friends' telephones would ring. She'd say, I was just kidding. You know how much I love you, but you couldn't give away the beast. Sometimes she would drink and the beast would say nasty things, quivering round, ready to leave. The beast was waiting to break Sadly, as the years dragged on, her friends grew tired and less song. Left her with her lover, her wealth, and a little beast. Oh, she couldn't give away the beast.
Gilbert, welcome to Snacky Tunes. Thank you for making the time. Congrats on the new spot. It's gorgeous. It's got a disco ball at the center, so you know that I'm in love with it already.
Love it. Super happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me on today.
Of course, I always love talking to chef restaurateurs who were born into the business. And so your parents ran a shawarma falafel shop in Australia. What was it like just getting right into it from birth?
It wasn't really a choice.
Sure. Yeah.
It's funny. Honestly, like my memories of, like when I think back to that time in my life, it's very hard to remember things when you're a kid, and certain things stand out, right? And I had a nanny, which was one of my mother's older cousins from Lebanon, and they all immigrated to Australia at the same time. So my memories are of my nanny, my mum dropping me off to the nanny in the morning. This is when I was like 3 or 4 years old.
Sure.
Went to school. And at the same time, my mum would be dropping off like 100 pounds of full chickens that needed to be deboned.
Yep.
And my nanny
Totally normal stuff. Totally normal.
Yeah, totally sanitary, Department of Health certified. And she would drop me off and the chickens, obviously, like still warm from the
from
morning
butchering.
Of, my mum literally would get up at 4 a.m., go to the slaughterhouse or the farm and pick up the chickens, because back then in Sydney, we lived in like in the middle of nowhere. Now it's much more developed than it was maybe when I was a kid. And I'd remember like hanging out and playing in the backyard while my nanny or like my mum's cousin would be like deboning chickens with a couple of her friends. And that was the day for like a couple of years, obviously, until I got old enough to go to school in kindergarten, and the school across the road from my parents' shawarma and falafel joint was literally across the road. So I'd get like dropped off at school in the morning. Dad would go in the morning, prepare for like the day of service. And back in those days, like everything was in a shopping mall. So a Westfield shopping mall. The name of the place was A1 Menu. Old school kind of lino floors,
Yeah, the places you look for. Yeah, when you travel.
Yeah. Veneered, like bright orange veneered
Sure.
seats.
Sure.
You know, they would serve breakfast and lunch. So I'd be eating like an egg and cheese or egg and bacon roll, as they call them in Australia, for breakfast. And I'd come there at 3 p.m. after school was finished and sit there until my dad finished work. And I'd eat shawarma and like falafel or whatever was kind of like at the day there at the end of the day. And that was like not really a choice, right? Like my parents were grinding.
Yeah, grinding.
Ever since I remember. Yeah. And to me, it seemed glamorous and fun. And I was like, yeah, this is so cool. Right?
One day I'm going to get in there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then as you obviously grow older, you're like, what the heck were my parents doing? And your parents push you away from like the pain and the punishment. Fast forward like to today, 40 years later, like I'm in the thick of it.
And not to jump too far ahead, but they were immensely supportive in opening Laziza. Like your dad came out to design, your mom came out to watch the kid. Like they were there, but I did have that thought of, was there a moment when they said, please don't do this? Like we did this so you don't have to do this. And obviously restaurants 40 years ago and like where they occupied in people's minds and cultural status was different than they are today. But were they always open to you going into the business, or were they like, no, run?
No, I don't want to use the cliche story either of like, okay,
sure,
parents.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. No, but it's like, it's very cliche. And my parents were like, don't go to university, study, be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or some other like, you know, well-trodden path that they believe was like the key to financial success and freedom. Entrepreneurship wasn't, you know, even though they were entrepreneurs, it wasn't like a pathway that was even really like in their realm of something that would be offered to me, right? Because they thought that like the pathway of entrepreneurship is a pathway of pain, not a pathway of pleasure. But it's kind of both, right? It's kind of like you enjoy like death by 1,000 cuts.
Sure.
And you enjoy the journey along the way. So maybe they never really thought of that. They were just thinking about what is best for my family based on what they knew, right? Coming from a village in Lebanon, not really knowing much, but coming to Australia, the land of opportunity at the time for them, to see what opportunities existed. And for them, success for their children was, you know, going to university and doing something, you know, white collar. So I did that, right? And I think that was great for them to see that, but they saw the struggle. They saw my constant reach for this passion that I had for exploring food, telling stories through food.
Sure.
For them, it wasn't about telling a story at all. It was about just making a living. So I would say that comes down to privilege that maybe we have in this generation that maybe my parents didn't have, because they left
to make the choice.
You know, it was hard for them to leave because they were leaving, you know, war and the imminent war and a tough life, and really worked harder than maybe a lot of us ever have in our lives.
Yeah. They were,
you know, I think it's a respect to them for that.
Respect to them, especially, you know, there wasn't also the infrastructure to have the PR support, the media stories, the glossy photo spread, the things like that. Back then, it wasn't reserved for the sort of day in, day out restaurants that were serving up great food with the great stories, just that no one was really asking about the story or cared about the story back then. They're just like, oh, here's another shawarma shop, here's another Mexican spot, here's another Jewish deli. It was just, you know, it was a different mindset to it. So
but my parents still have that mindset. It's funny. I wanted to, a really important one to lean into, because like when we put up the sign for Laziza at the front and my dad was here, he's like, it's not big enough. It's not bright enough. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, look at the hardware store across the street. It says hardware in really like big writing in red, and like it's flashing and it's bright. And he's like, you need a sign like that so people know that you're a restaurant. And that's how it was, right? Back then, it's like the bigger, the bolder, the better.
Yeah,
Because they didn't have these other elements or experience of kind of like exposure to brand awareness, product awareness, and it's like maybe not knowing that it's not cool to have a really big sign because that's reserved for McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah. Did you have a conversation with him about subtlety and minimal design and how that's cool and hip?
Exactly. And he has lots of complaints about that. These chairs are not comfortable.
It's like, well,
cushions.
Yeah. So you're in Australia. What gets you out of Australia and what starts your journey to the States? How do you make it over to at least Brooklyn?
Yeah, so from Australia, very common pathway for Australian people is to finish college, university, work for a couple of years in Australia, and then go to London. So in Australia, you'll find a lot of people that have gone to London and lived there for many years. A lot haven't returned to Australia.
Yeah.
A lot are here in New York or still in London or somewhere else in the world. So that was a path that I took. Obviously, my friends went over. I followed them. Before I was anything in my life, I was a DJ, specifically.
Weren't we all?
Record collector. Late 90s, playing disco, house, techno in clubs in and around Sydney and Melbourne.
What was that scene like?
Collection. It was semi-underground.
Sure.
Not so underground, I would say, back then. If you wanted underground, you kind of had to find it and look for maybe more deep house type techno parties.
Sure.
The house music was becoming a thing. Obviously, pop music started to feature a lot more music in that realm, and there's a lot more, I would say, like houseification of pop music happening then. So I went the opposite way and went a little bit more underground and started to explore genres away from that, just because I was interested in understanding the roots of electronic music and seeing how that inspired music that we listen to today as well. So the move to London was inspired by traveling to a different place to understand the music scene in there. The London music scene was dope in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's still dope today. But that was the garage days, all the two-step stuff that was happening, the jungle movement, the drum and bass. The best stuff was coming out of the UK. And moving there in the mid-2000s, 2004, 2005, you got super exposed to that. Tons of warehouse parties that were happening in East London. And
I was in London at that time. I was studying abroad, and it was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
So it was a lot of fun. And I worked as a software engineer then.
Sure.
And I was able to get a job to pay the bills and get me through life in London and feed the insatiable craving of record collecting. DJ'd a little bit in London and had my day job. Didn't really ever have any exploration of my passion for food or love of food at that time, besides going to restaurants and just having a good time with friends, which is always awesome too, right? Music, friends, and having a good time. And if there's food there, it was a bonus. And then I had an opportunity to move to Hong Kong and China through the company I was working for. So I was like, all right, we'll give this a shot. 6 months turned into 10 years.
Wow.
And that was a really inspiring and awakening moment for what I would say was my Lebanese identity really came out when I moved to a place where I didn't really have an identity except just being like a Western guy.
Sure.
Living in Hong Kong. And I was missing that element of my roots, right? And where do you kind of go when you're craving getting back to your roots? Food. And I started to dive into that just because of the lack of good Middle Eastern food in Hong Kong, where I lived primarily. And then I lived in Beijing for a minute, but I would travel a lot to Guangzhou in Guangdong province in China, because there's this huge Arab community, weirdly, and West African community. And they were all buddies and friends and lived and worked close with each other and shared cuisines with each other. Like, why? And I was like, why did this even happen? But they'd been there for decades, working as traders and moving stuff from this province in China to the Middle East and to other countries in Africa. So there's this huge community and like culinary scene supporting all the diaspora in that area.
Wow.
And that's where I would go to get my groceries. And that's where I would go to like meet like-minded people. And it was a real kind of inspiration for me to go back there and see that and see how powerful the diaspora is that represents cuisines from all countries and nations, right? So that really allowed me to say, okay, what do I really love in my life? What are these things that are inspiring me? Traveled a lot to the Middle East during that time, spent a lot of time in Turkey, spent a lot of time in Lebanon and Syria. I went to Iran a few times just to understand the cuisine, just because I was interested in it, not because I ever wanted to start a business or open a restaurant or anything like that. And I was inspired by this Middle Eastern style ice cream called bouza, which we consider to be the original ice cream. And that idea spawned a manufacturing company in Australia that I started with my sister, and a store that opened in Williamsburg, Brooklyn in 2018. So a move to Brooklyn was partly inspired by that, partly because I married a New York girl that I met on a trip home to Australia.
Sure.
And, you know, from there, it's obviously just grown as I think also, I would say, Levant style Middle Eastern food,
100%.
Turkish, Iranian, and broader Middle Eastern cuisine has been pretty poorly represented in New York City since 9/11, just due to what's happened. People just call it Mediterranean cuisine now, when our cuisine is partially Mediterranean, but it's also very not Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And there's this cross-section or this world in which, you know, the Ottoman Empire, the Persian influence exists in all elements of the Middle East, but no one's really kind of delved into it. And it's super fascinating.
It's
to
very
really
fascinating.
Understand that.
It's a great history lesson, and also I think really important to dive into that. Let's dive into that after the break. I want to talk more about the restaurant, how your record collection wound up being a pillar of the new restaurant, and some of the vibes that people can expect when they come to eat. We have a song from the archives here on Snacky Tunes on HRN.
I'm a gangster for real. What? I feel so damn gangster. I'm a gangster for real.
What are you talking about?
I'm a gangster for real. I feel so damn gangster. I'm a gangster for real.
Oh my God. It's just one of those days. I feel the sun rise around me. All the clouds run away. Something funny's going on. Okay, now where's all the traffic? Is someone trying to clown me? Why do I feel fantastic? I'm used to things always going wrong, but now
I'm a gangster for real. I feel so damn gangster.
I'm a gangster for real. I'm a gangster for real.
I feel so damn gangster. I'm a gangster for real.
Oh shoot. Sitting in my backyard, looking at a little squirrel. I'm drinking some coffee. Feel like a whole different world. Plus I got the bomb rhyme skills. I got Hawthorne backing me up. Plus my wife looks good. I got butter soft seats all up in my trunk. Yep, I'm banging some Depeche Mode. Windows down so you can see the fresh mode. Yeah, my 6'4" is only a Nintendo, but I'm smashing fools on some Super Mario. Never picture myself sitting on some big dough. Used to be in Broken 6 and Alvarado. I'm chilling out the back of the boat chewing tacos. I feel like young Sean Connery in Cabo, and now
I'm a gangster for real. I feel so damn gangster. I'm a gangster for real.
Show me how you feel. Come on.
I'm a gangster for real. I feel so damn gangster. I'm a gangster for real.
Oh shoot, let's go. Okay, act like you in Cabo. Let me take you out. We'll go to Denny's on Vermont and we'll get waffles on the house. Yeah, act like you in Cabo. Let me take you out. We'll go to Denny's on Vermont and we'll get waffles on the house. Watch the young Duke Ellington make the place gelatin, shake the fake Pelican, I have the black Gilligan. I keep seeking, keep preaching, the seeds peeking, keep breathing the same reason. I leak venom every time I choose to spit them, and that line hit them with an unusual rhythm that you never heard. The similar words ever spoken, forever heard. And those who oppose, I'm not joking, cause now
I'm a gangster for real. I feel so damn gangster. I'm a gangster for real.
how you feel.
I'm a gangster for real. I feel so damn gangster. I'm a gangster for real.
Let's go on a pleasure trip.
Come on. I'm a gangster for real. I feel so damn gangster. I'm a gangster for real. Yeah, yeah. I'm a gangster for real. I feel so damn gangster. I'm a gangster for real.
You gotta rock to the beat that like this. You gotta rock to the beat that like this. You gotta rock to the beat that rock it to the beat. You gotta rock it to the beat that like this. You gotta rock it to the beat that like this. You gotta rock it to the beat that like this. You gotta rock it to the beat to rock it to the beat. You gotta rock it to the beat like this. Get some.
Welcome back to Snacky Tunes. We are chatting with Gilbert Elsmeter of Laziza out in Brooklyn. And you're in Brooklyn. Classic story of Australian DJ meets girl, moves to Brooklyn. Tale as old as time. And you have the ice cream store, House of Booza. What happens there? When do you start thinking about a restaurant? Is it in tandem or does one thing happen before the other?
So I'll start with the bad news. Republic of Booza closed in 2021 in the height of the pandemic. But 2018 to 2021 was we're opening in Williamsburg, crazy rents, but
sure,
a super receptive, I would say, community and space for us to explore this idea of, ice cream almost as a journey and taking people on this adventure. And that's something that's always fascinated me. Like I mentioned a little bit before, like what are the stories that are interesting about what we believe is our ancestry, our culture, our history. It's not necessarily about branding something as being Middle Eastern or Indian or Chinese. It's like, what's the story that got people to kind of think this way? Who are the people we met along the way? What are the things we tasted? What are the things we drank? What are the songs we danced to? And I feel like ice cream was a really good vehicle for that, especially Booza, which is this taffy-esque, elastic almost ice cream that was, who knows what the origins are, but there's like recipe books that date back to the 16 and 1700s that talk about this ice cream. And it's a great vehicle for flavor. And we explored flavors from all over the world with this ice cream. So it wasn't necessarily a Middle Eastern ice cream place, but it was Middle Eastern style ice cream represented in so many different global ways. Yeah. So during the pandemic, obviously it's very hard. If you miss one summer in New York City with an ice cream store, you're kind of done. Yeah. So we unfortunately fell victim to that. We're not Van Leeuwen with tons of private equity backed capital to support us. It's a small business, but that's okay. So took a few years of a break, continued to have a day job, which we all need to make ends meet. Yep. Yeah. Tons of support from my wife and family. We all need a great partner in our lives to support us on our journey. 100%. So props to the missus. I always have to give her shout outs, even name a cocktail after her here on the menu, because I spend so much time here. So last year, a friend of mine was talking to me about what I'd been doing and when I was ever going to kind of re-explore this idea of this thing that I'm obsessed with and I constantly talk about and I know so much about and I'm so passionate about. And I'm like, when I have enough money and I've saved enough money that I feel like I can do it with risk-free. And her words literally were, why would you waste all this time waiting for something that you want today? And I just never really thought about it that way. I was like, I need to kind of provide, and I have 2 kids.
Sure,
and
sure.
It's about risk management and finance management. And she's like, if you really care about something, just go for it. It's not like you can't pick up where you left off, or you've made compromises in your life. Make a compromise and go for it. And literally from that point on, Laziza was born. Right? I didn't know what it was or what it represented at that time. And through time working with some friends of mine, and like Jory, a friend of mine who is an amazing kind of brand strategist, helped me kind of start to think about honing in on just things that I loved. And it wasn't about, getting rich or, making tons of money from something, because nobody opened a bar and got rich.
No one opened a restaurant in 2024, 2025 with the idea of like retiring.
Correct. Look, if we can find some sense of like redefining what success means outside of the realm of being purely financial,
I agree.
I've become comfortable with that. You have to be.
You have to be.
Spend time with me in the pit, and I'll make you comfortable with it too. But this really, what it boiled down to is, what are the things that I have really been attracted to and I've loved in my life that I want to share with other people. And like the backyard barbecues that were epic, that my parents threw when I was a kid, that all of my cousins came to and all of my friends and family came to, where there was music, there was booze, there was tons of cigarettes, and amazing grilled food and food that people brought over that they'd made at home, and it was just a good time. Like almost every weekend, that's like literally when I think my parents spent all their money. And
what a great vibe!
It was just about a celebration, right? So for me, it was about bringing those elements into a space and just sharing that story, and not only sharing the stories about like, this kind of idea of, Lebanese or Middle Eastern culture and community and bringing people together, but how does music play a part in that? Because it was such a big part and is still such a big part of my life. How do we enjoy booze responsibly in that environment? And how do we bring together people that we know, people together that we don't know, that we want to be friends with?
Yeah.
From the neighborhood, from far and wide as well.
Sure.
And how do we enjoy the space together? So that's kind of like that became really what Laziza is. And Laziza literally translates to good thing in Arabic. So it's about good food, good music, good times. And there's always food, there's always people, there's always music. The record collection is a really important part of this for me. How do I just literally take the records out of my basement here? I live in the neighborhood here in Bed-Stuy, and get them out of the house. I joke to people that my wife was like, you have to get these out of here. Okay, I'm going to start a bar and restaurant just to get the records out of the basement.
I'll put that at half a joke, maybe a quarter joke, because you're like, I don't want to get rid of them. So where can I put them? But I think having your personal record collection in there, and then also having these personal stories and from the food memories, even if people don't know all that going in, it can be felt, because you can't really hire someone to create that. It has to be so personal. And it's that whole journey of you being, at your parents' shawarma shop all the way through London to Hong Kong and finding community, and then taking all that and making it a restaurant. I felt like it used to be more commonplace. When people open restaurants, it was like, here's my personal story, here's my personal life, and this is what it is. And it's a little bit rarer these days.
Yeah, but I think it's hard to do that purely with only food. I think there needs to be a couple of different elements. Like if you go to Department of Culture here in the neighborhood, which is obviously really well known now, Nigerian spot, very hard to get into, but the owner's got a story. Every single dish that drops on the table has got a story to tell. There's music also playing in the background, and you can feel that kind of connection with him and his culture, but in the context of where we live today and his evolution through becoming a chef and living in the United States and that development. People want that authenticity. And it's not because I'm not doing that because sex sells or anything else. I just think I want to have a good time too. I want to be here and enjoy the experience as much as I want the customers to. Javier, the dishwasher, who's here to enjoy it, the chefs on the line to enjoy it, the bartenders, like a super open plan kitchen. Like the bartenders are right next to the DJ, who are right next to the cooks, who are right next to the servers. It feels like a kitchen counter. And isn't that how a party is supposed to be? Not like people locked behind closed doors doing
100%.
doing dirty kitchen work in a hot, sweaty kitchen. I just kind of that for me is what this represents, right? So the space is really purposeful and intentional in the design as well, so that everyone feels they're connected in some way, whether you're a customer or not.
We shout out the designer because you worked with a great firm to bring the vision to life.
Yeah, so Ashley from He Said, She Said, another local in the community, tons of experience working, in the restaurant space. Her partner, Nick, also works for a consulting group, and they helped a ton, right? But designers are really, really good at coming up with these ideas and then just saying, okay, go build it. And then you get a contractor in that's like, I can't build this. This is outrageous. And then you have to kind of figure out this kind of balance between a designer and a contractor in New York City. And we know how fun that is. So Dad came because I called him and I said, Dad, I need your help because I'm not going to be able to literally pull all these pieces together on my own. And I need someone that represents, the best interests of Laziza to kind of pull it all together. And he did a rocking job. He's like a identity in the community now. People were calling me in the first few weeks, and they're like, "There's this dude that kind of looks like you with Brett's outside this joint on Malcolm X," and I'm like, "It's probably my dad?" And they're like, "What?
Probably my dad.
It looks exactly like you." And he kind of became a well-known. And when he left, everyone had a party for him at Laziza. It was insane.
Oh. Honest question, because I know that you're cooking the food. What is the split time between you on the DJ decks and behind the stove? 50-50?
No, I'm it's my record collection. I've DJ'd twice here since we opened 3 months ago. I'd love to be DJing more, but it's not about me. I think it's so important. Everyone says you're too selfless, but it's I never want it to be about me. It's about the story, and everyone else gets to play here. I want DJs that are from the neighborhood, people that are bouncing around New York City and bringing their crowd, Laziza experience and vibe, centered obviously around funk, soul, disco, and kind of sounds inspired by those elements, because that's what Laziza is. That's what in my mind, is a good time. And everyone brings that, whether it's hip hop or funk or late 60s breaks, or not even, we don't go into the realm of techno or deep house, because that's not really pleasant music to listen to while you're enjoying a kebab off the grill or freshly roasted charcoal bread. So it's got to make sense, right? And then a little bit of a boogie towards the end of the night once we flip after dinner service kind of works really well. So, and in kitchen, I would say 50% of my time's in the kitchen, and the rest is running the place, running up and down stairs, busting on tables, speaking to customers, and the things that you have to do to bring that element of being in your home and sharing that with people.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned you live in the neighborhood. You made a restaurant in the neighborhood. I've really found that the longevity of a restaurant is ultimately, at the end of the day, being a neighborhood spot. What do you see for the long run of the spot? What would you like it to be 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now?
Wow. The data. You know what the data says around restaurants staying open for 10 years?
I know, but you're 3 months in. We can dream for 10 years.
Exactly. I can't help but go back to being a software engineer.
I know.
Sometimes. Okay, so look, if we're open in 10 years, it's nothing to do with me. It's everything to do with the people around that have supported the place, the community rallying around the place and continuing to support it. Consistency is the only thing that keeps, bars and restaurants alive, right? So that's what we have to really continue to focus on. I hope that this represents not just one spot, but maybe a platform for some other spots here in the neighborhood. I want to open multiple spots, not necessarily exactly like this, but spots that celebrate, this cuisine, this feeling, this sense of community. I think we can do this in other ways in the community. Who knows what it looks like right now? I think it's just a matter of time. Look, we've been open 3 months, right? I can't be planning the next spot already. I think it's a matter of time before that will naturally happen. I'm fortunate that I got a chef, Nima Jerome, who's come on board as a partner with me to help me on board on the culinary side, on the bar programming as well. And he's super tenured in the business, came out from LA, and he brings kind of the Iranian element as well as kind of a little bit more of broader thinking, culinary expertise as well to help us drive that idea of, while the food's very serious, we're not serious people. We're here to have a good time too. I think that's like a really good ethos that we have across all the elements, from the food, the booze, the music, and all of those elements. And we want people to feel that every day.
It's amazing. It's wonderful. I mean, yeah, it's about creating a spot for everyone to shine. And you just have a place to, eventually in 10 years, you'll just be on the decks the whole time and spinning records.
Who is this old man?
For your kids. They'll be asking your kids. I saw this old guy spinning records who looks a lot like you.
Yes.
Right?
I love full circle.
Listen, if people want to come by, they want to make a reservation, see what you're up to, see who's spinning, what specials are on, where can they go?
All right, so website Funky Laziza, LAZIZA.com. If you're Australian, Funky Laziza, LIZIZA.com.
Love it.
Or check us out at Instagram at Funky Laziza. Would love to see you guys here. Mention this radio show. Come talk to me about it. Would love to tell the stories to you guys as well in person and talk about everything we're doing. Appreciate all the support.
Of course. Big shout out to Lily, Lexi, Nicole, and Mona for making this happen. We have a song from the archives and then a live performance here on Snacky Tunes on HRN.
In the perfect day, in the stardust of a melody, this day is a perfect day. Leaves fall in time with the song. Listen now, can you hear it playing through the walls? Keeps me hanging on. Set the clock back, save the daylight. was a perfect release spell. I forgot myself. Set the clock back. Save the daylight. One more hour before it fades into the night. When we drift off to sleep, we'll dream of holding on to memories. Where are you? Where are you now? Where are you? We're all swinging to your song.
This episode is brought to you by Wisconsin Cheese. There's a reason when you think of Wisconsin, you think cheese. Cheese is a huge part of Wisconsin's history and future. In Wisconsin, the state of cheese, the tradition of cheese-making excellence began 180 years ago, before Wisconsin was recognized as a state. Immigrants traveled to settle in this lush green hills of Wisconsin, bringing their cheese-making traditions with them. These storied skills, combined with the freshest milk available, created a cheese-making culture that is uniquely Wisconsin. Wisconsin's 1,200 cheesemakers, many of whom are third and fourth generation, continue to pass on old world traditions while adopting modern innovations in cheese-making craftsmanship. Find your next favorite cheese at wisconsincheese.com.
Welcome back, Snacky Tunes. Darren Breslin's still not here. What a jerk. Want to welcome back Credit No Credit to the show. Hey, guys.
Hi.
And girl. Some of you have been here before.
Yes.
Some of you first time. First time people. You want to go around the room and just kind of let us know who you are?
Hi, I'm Josh. I play bass. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Really well.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Maybe you can say your team.
Carter, on Team Carter. I play trumpet. Second time being on the show. First time caller.
Yeah.
Second time caller.
Yeah. Third time listener.
Third time listener.
I'm Ryan. I play saxophone. I like badminton.
Oh.
That's my team.
That's
I'm Trevor. I play the trombone.
Okay.
I'm Chris. I play the drums.
You have a team.
My team's the Giants.
Yeah.
Gigantes.
Hi, I'm Carrie Ann, and I make vocals
Okay.
and saxophone. I make sax. And my team is the Seahawks.
Yes.
So how did you guys all come together? I mean, pretty great sound. I love it. I love like larger ensembles, especially with brass. How did this happen? Tell me a story.
Well, it's a very convoluted and weird story. I met everybody in very different ways. Carter was the first among this group. I started the group many years
First among
ago.
equals.
Yes, exactly. I started the group, or rather, the group was started for me around 2008. And we went through many changes over the years. None of the original members still live in New York. But the next best thing was Carter, who we found through Craigslist.
Really? What was the Craigslist ad?
I don't know. Andy did it. Do you remember, Carter?
I do not remember. I remember it had that allure. It had that Andy Russell Thomas charm. So
But
yeah.
Do people still look for like? We're like, I want to join a band. Let me look on Craigslist or like, what's the?
I mean, this was 2009, so those were different days.
No, I know. That's what I'm asking.
Facebooking. I don't know. I'm lucky enough to have these guys now and not have to be on Craigslist. So God bless you if you still have to do it. Stick with it.
I don't even know if anyone that would even look on.
I would now, actually, or I would put up an ad again.
Yeah.
I mean, we found Carter. Craigslist has my blessing for life because he's also my best friend now. So, Craigslist.
Wait, were you looking for a best friend? Or were you
I was, and it totally worked out.
Yeah, I actually I'm Trevor. I found the band on Craigslist, and I realized I know some of these fools already.
What? Really? We were on Craigslist?
Yeah, and then
was that Andy again? God.
Ryan Weisheidt. I know this guy.
That's funny because I met Ryan on the street on 8th Avenue or something, and I saw he was carrying a sax because New York, and I guess I was feeling extroverted.
And it was what's his name?
Oh, and I was with Red Hunter.
You're with Red.
Yeah, and you knew him.
I knew Red through a mutual friend.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, that makes me sound less ballsy, so we'll leave that part out next time.
Yeah.
And Chris, we found through Jason, who found us through Carter. Jason's not here today. And Josh was recommended to me by some of the members of our favorite band. I think it's our collective favorite band called Not Blood Paint. They're local guys.
And then when you said the band was put together for you, what do you mean?
It was really weird. So I was in this band for about 8 months with these guys that never played out. They were really strange dudes. One was about 15 years older than me. His name was Jet, and he wore sunglasses at night. And he would say things like, "Little lady, you don't know how to talk rock and roll."
Where is he now?
I don't know. I see him every once in a while, and he doesn't talk to me. I don't know why. Because I got kicked out of that band eventually, and they never told me why. But there was one person who heard us, and her name was Elaine. And she decided she was the only person sad about it because she was also the only person who'd heard us. And so she got a band together for us. Her boyfriend and herself and Jason Conklin. And it was a nice little group to start.
That's amazing. Let's hear a song.
Yeah,
let's hear,
we have
let's
songs.
Hear a tune. Yeah.
This is the first one's from back in those old days. So, yeah.
What is it?
A vampire song.
Do we have an album that it's on too?
I don't know. Why don't you tell us, Carter?
It's on the whole Buffalo vampire song. It's actually, we have a great music video too.
Oh, we do, and it's on the YouTubes.
Uh-huh.
On your face, baby. If you wanna leave me in my box through the changing of the clocks. Sure, alright. I'll need some other time for you, baby. I'd starve myself blind. Oh yeah, blood and a smile on my face. Blood and a smile on my face. Your neck's like candy sugar. Blood and a smile on my face. butterfly. When I saw you in the diner, I kissed the hierarchy goodbye. I wrote a formal resignation to my leader for a piece of your pie. I take the steak for you, but love for you, you make me high. Oh yeah, blood and a smile on my face. Blood and a smile on my face. Your necktie, candy. Blood and a smile on my face.
Yes. The bitter end of that sweet, sweet note. How long do you normally hold it when you play live? Be honest.
It varies if I hit the overtone or not.
Depends how much drinking has been happening.
Yeah, I try not to go too hard before a show because we have a pretty physical live show.
Yeah, what is it? What does it involve?
Well, usually I have also other instruments. We all have, several of us have multiple instruments, and there's a lot of jumping around and twisting of knobs and electronics and stuff as well.
Sometimes crowd charging. You charge the crowd.
There's been some crowd charging over the years.
I don't love it.
I don't know. Where does the name come from?
Well, I think it's most familiar to people that are from the South because there are a lot of signs down there that say, bad credit, no problem. But I've noticed that in the North, some people are like, what the hell is that? Am I allowed to say HE double hockey sticks?
You can say what the fuck you want.
Yeah. I was getting a little worried.
Hell is the one that you were concerned about?
No, I was worried about future curses.
Is it, it's like a loan thing?
Yeah. And I mean, generally everybody in this band is jazz
bad
rich.
Credit.
Jazz rich.
What is a jazz rich defined as?
Carter?
Jazz rich is like tens of dollars.
Tens of dollars.
Yeah, it's like pretty much all the money in jazz.
Yeah. Is it a week by week denomination, day by day?
Sometimes night by night.
Yeah.
Gig to gig.
Yeah.
No.
Which means I'm very lucky to be playing with these guys because this is a passion project for dudes that really get their hustle on around town and play with a lot of amazing people.
Yeah, you guys, I mean, I've seen you all in like various iterations. You want to shout out some of your side projects? Current projects? Long-time dreams? Full-time fantasies?
I play with a singer-songwriter. Her name is Lachi Lisa.
I didn't even know this, Josh. Do you have a secret life?
Yeah, I do. I'm a little bit of a secret life. But yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's a little different than what we do here. It's a little more. I feel like it's kind of conventional dance pop stuff. That nature, but again, I get to use a lot of effects and a lot of fun stuff like that. So, yeah, it's great. But yeah, I love these guys too. It's all love.
How often do you guys get together?
Well, lately a lot less because I was gone for the summer. I went to France, and it was kind of hard to commute. But we kind of needed a break anyway because we're working on a record, and it's sort of murdering us slowly.
What's the writing? I mean, there's more. There's more of you, right?
There's one more of us, yeah, Jason Disu.
What is the writing process among 7 musicians?
I'd like Chris to answer that.
A lot of how we made the new record was just sitting around in our rehearsal space, which is Shea Stadium, or was Shea Stadium, and me and Josh would just start hammering out different grooves, which I know is how at least 3 of the songs got made, if not more.
Yeah.
And we would establish something solid and funky that I would prefer, that you wouldn't hate listening to over and over. And then we have these amazingly talented horn players to just sprinkle over the top whatever they feel like.
Is that the highest achievement? Like, I wouldn't hate listening to this.
Honestly,
That's the best.
You know, like I really think that some of my favorite music is stuff that I can sleep to. Like, I think it's a really great achievement to not be offensive.
Not that that's what we sound like.
Yeah.
We're not sleepy, but you know, I
understand.
Yeah.
A lot of the new stuff, though, you had lyric ideas too that we kind of made that the rhythm section made groundwork.
Yeah, there was a lot of that too. I mean, it's a kind of a concept record. It's kind of the idea is like I want to cast myself as sort of a macabre Rick James character.
Wait, what, yeah. What's your cape game like?
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interior designs to like when I raise my arms.
Who's the one that puts it on your shoulders and tries to get you off the stage?
That's definitely Trevor.
Yeah.
Wasn't that James Brown?
Oh, who did you say?
Rick James.
Oh, I just wanted to talk about James Brown. Rick James is even better.
He a vicious cape game.
Yeah.
No, Rick James, I really do have a great respect for, and I got really deep into his catalog in the last couple of years. So I think part of what we'd do when we were finding our grooves would be to listen to some of that stuff at SOS Band and some of these really great early 80s dance tracks and kind of go from there and make it our own.
Do you have anything new that we can hear?
Yeah. We were going to save it for last, but we could do it now.
Let's just do it now. We'll
Okay,
close
cool.
it out with like an oldie but goodie.
Okay.
Yeah,
sounds
mix
good.
it up. What's this one called?
This one's called Nora.
Live on Snacky Tunes.
To have the beat inside her breast, she devoted her life to being the best. She helped all of those in need. She gave away everything, but she couldn't give away the beast. She found love, she found help. She broke down walls, she was a champion, a beacon of society. But in her breast there was a beast, and she couldn't give away the beast. Sometimes she would drink, and the beast would say nasty things, quivering wild and ready to leave. The beast was waiting to break morning after, inevitably, all her friends' telephones would ring. She'd say, I was just kidding. You know how much I love you. But she couldn't give away the beast. Sometimes she would drink, and the beast would say nasty things, quivering round, ready to leave. The beast was waiting to break free. together with a fist.
Rad. Awesome. Stopped on a dime. Yeah.
That's Ryan Whiteside on saxophone, by the way.
So when you guys are, writing together and getting this together, where do you land on for food? 7 people. That's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
No, there are two. There's pizza and Indian, for sure.
Yeah. Indian pizza, really?
Yeah.
No, we don't do that.
Any spot in particular for Indian food? I feel like it's kind of like not always like the best spots in our area.
Yeah, well, you have to go dish by dish, really, I think, in our area. And I live in Bushwick, and we practice sort of in Bushwick at Shea Stadium, so there's a different place for each one. But at Shea, we order from Taj Kebab, even though they never bring utensils, but they have the best chicken Malay. Like, it's the stuff that dreams are made of.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes it so good?
It's just coconut and sweet, and well, it's kind of slipping. Not that I've still been ordering it all the time, secretly without you guys, but
every day, every meal.
I just keep hoping it'll be back to what it was, the tender chicken. But I don't think they're marinating it in the yogurt correctly.
Do you think that you can you say something?
Like, be like, yo, guys, we need to have a talk.
Well, I mean,
they don't even bring utensils.
Let me put, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they
but would you respect if, like, let's say you guys are maybe not doing as well as a band, and if, like, a fan, like a true fan, can be like, I love you guys. Is everything okay? The last few months, shows haven't been as tight.
Dry chicken, man. Dry chicken.
Do you think you're going to be like, look, I love you guys. I order from you every day, sometimes twice. I just, what's going on? Is it problems at home?
Is it me?
Is it me? Do you know that I'm going to order no matter what, so I just get your second best, or I need to change my name?
That's always my question.
Maybe if you got burner phones. And like started pretending to call from other numbers.
That might, yeah, I think that might have to happen because I need it back.
But how much would that fuck you up if you called from a different number and the dish came better, and then like it just totally made you rethink delivery?
I would cry.
It's a personal affront that nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
now the seed has been planted. Come by your phone. I want to order Indian food.
Yeah, well, now everything's seamless too. So I'm probably have some serious red flag. Like this chick always puts all caps on her directives and demands brown rice.
It's funny. I do feel like this band is really tied pretty closely with food. I mean, the first few rehearsals I ever did with the band, I think we would go over to your place and you would just cook a bunch of food for everybody.
Yes.
And
for those listening out there, Carrie Ann is an amazing, wonderful chef.
Oh yeah, what's your best? Well, what's your favorite dish she cooks, and what's your favorite dish that you cook?
Oh God, what have I even cooked for you guys? Probably just stir fries and shit.
You did collars once for us. Swordfish collars, as fish collars. They were amazing. You also make really good like stews and
stews.
You've done.
I like to think I was specialist in gruel. I really like, especially with large bands like this, you have to be able to, like, I catered our video shoot, and it was something like 40 people. So there was a lot of gruel happening. There were a lot of big pots and things that you can make a mess.
Will you sometimes put, like, 5 pieces of meat for your 6 bandmates and be like, one of you is not, one of you is just not getting it.
The vegetarian.
4 pieces.
Yeah, I have seen him eat chorizo, just for the record.
Okay.
He's a
is that what got you?
Man.
You're fallen.
It was the weirdest thing. Can I tell this story? Can you tell this story?
Well, I mean,
it's just weird. It's not really a good story.
Yeah, just tell it.
My vegetarianism is hanging on by a thread, and it has been for years.
Right. So we love to exploit it.
So any opportunity I have to, I figure if meat is served to me, the animal has already been killed.
Yeah, but what if it's my taco?
Hey, yeah, there was that time in Austin you ate my bacon burrito. Like breakfast burrito.
I don't really know if this thread exists anyway. As a casual outside observer that knows nothing of your history.
I'm a pretty bad vegetarian.
So what's next for you guys?
Well, we're working on this record. It's gotten stalled due to funding issues, and I have to sue some guy.
Wait, is that a Craigslist thing?
No, it's
He
not.
just said bad credit, no credit, no problem.
Yeah.
That's our man.
And we're like, you lied.
Bad credit, no credit, problem. Or what it's been.
Yeah, so it's been epic because I've really gotten into the recording process, and I want to do everything correctly and try to have everything, especially with these gorgeous horn players, have everything nice and warm and analog, and it's expensive.
As it tends to be. Well, I want to make sure we have time for one oldie but goodie.
Cool.
But where can people find you, find your earlier works, see your music videos?
Well, YouTube. Don't type in bad credit, no credit, because there are a lot of ads on there. Type in vampire song, vampire with a Y. That's right. And we also have badcreditnocredit.bandcamp.com and facebook.com/badcreditnocredit.
That wasn't taken?
No, and people are pissed.
Guys trying to finance cars or just
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you for coming out.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks to the family at Root and Bone for coming out and sharing their meatloaf story with us. We'll be back next week. Darren and I will actually both be here. And winter is upon us, so drink some whiskey.
Winter is coming.
Winter's here. I mean, I guess what are you going to take us out with?
This is called The Last Battle, and it's also on The Whole Buffalo, which is a record that we have out in the world.
That you could potentially have.
Yeah. For a price.
To help fund the next record.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, thanks for being on, guys. Thanks.
Is this how it all ends? The storms and quakes so frequent. We forget to pay attention. And you remember to hold my hand. Yeah, you remember to hold my hand. Oh. takes my love away from me. As she takes my love away from me. As she takes my love away from me. As she rips my love away from me. Oh, you were too late. Yeah, you were too late. Yeah, you were too
We talk about food, we talk about music with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, snacky tunes.
Snacky Tunes is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.